Have you ever paid attention to how your body feels when you're super stressed or anxious? For me, when I'm worried about something, my sleep gets off and my neck gets really tight. Maybe it's also a racing heart or bad digestion, but somehow, some way, your body's going to show you the effect in your body of your mental stress. So, why is this important? I think a lot of people end up trying to treat or address their physical symptoms separate from what's happening in their mind. And if we do that, obviously we're going to get limited results, especially if your mental stress is a primary causative factor to some of that physical stuff going on. I'm Dr. Laura with Body Wave Chiropractic, and I use really gentle nerve adjustments to help get nervous system regulation so people can finally feel at ease. And this month we're partnering with Gabby Montana, a local mental health expert, who created a tip sheet on how to find a therapist. This is super important, and I think it's actually one of the most common reasons why people aren't kind of diving into the mental stress behind their physical symptoms, because they just simply don't know who to go to. I hope you enjoy this presentation by Gabby. I hope it's helpful.
As a therapist, something I often hear from my clients and my family and friends is how hard it is to find a therapist that's a really good fit for what you're needing to work on. It can feel incredibly overwhelming, especially when you're experiencing challenges in the moment. And if you're not a therapist yourself, or you've never been to therapy, or no one's ever offered you any guidance on how to find a therapist, how could you know? Of course it's going to be difficult. That's why I created this tip sheet on how to connect with a therapist. And I'm going to go over how to search for a therapist and what questions to ask to assess if a therapist is going to be a good fit for you. Let's start with my top 3 tips on how to search for a therapist. So number 1, if you have insurance, call the customer service number on the back of your insurance card and ask them to send you a list of providers that are in network. Tip number 2 is to utilize an online therapy directory. Now you can totally Google therapist near me and you'll get a lot of options that'll come up. And if you want to narrow it down and get more specific to your personal experience, that's where online therapy directories can be more helpful. A couple of examples of online therapy directories are Psychology Today, Mental Health Match, Therapy Den, Inclusive Therapists, Therapy for Black Girls, and Open Path Collective. So what's great about online therapy directories is that they have a filter where you can filter through all of the therapists in your area based on certain criteria that are important to you. So for example, you could filter by the therapist gender, by the specialties that they have, by insurance that they take, their out-of-pocket cost, the specific issue that you're wanting to work on in therapy, etc. There are a lot of different options. Now, Open Path Collective is a really cool therapy directory because it serves people who are either uninsured or experiencing financial hardship. And there are therapists on that directory who offer low, reduced fee therapy spots. My third tip is if you're comfortable being open about your search for a therapist, ask some trusted family and friends. They might be in therapy or know somebody who's gone to therapy where they can provide you that information, and because you trust them, you can feel confident in that recommendation. So now that I know how to find a therapist, how do I assess if they're going to be a good fit for me? We know that the relationship between therapist and client is the most important part of the therapy experience, and it's going to indicate whether or not therapy will be effective. And so connecting with your therapist and feeling like they get you and they really understand you is really, really important. Many therapists will offer a free 15-minute phone consultation, which means that it's 15 minutes for them to share about themselves and for you to ask them any questions in order for you both to assess if it would be a good fit for you two to work together. So here's some questions that I think are really important to ask in order for you to decide if this is someone that you want to spend your time and energy working with. Do you take my insurance? And if not, what are your out-of-pocket costs for therapy sessions? Do you have experience working with clients who have the same concern as me? What is your approach to working with clients who have the same concerns as me? This next question might not apply to everyone, but for a lot of clients, finding and working with a therapist that has similar identities and values and belief systems as them is really important. So what you can say is working with a therapist who is insert what the important identity is, such as same age, being a parent, religious or political beliefs, being a part of the LGBTQIA community, etc. Share what your identity is and ask if, based on that information, do they think they would be a good match for you? When do you schedule sessions? Let them know what your availability is to see if logistically your calendars align. Do you offer in-person sessions, virtual sessions? Do you do a combination of the two? Another important thing to remember is if you're open to doing virtual sessions, you don't have to be limited to the city that you live in. You can expand your search to the entire state. What do sessions with you look like? How long are your sessions? What should I expect for the first session, and how often will we meet? Of course, this isn't an all-inclusive list, so if there are any other questions that are important for you to ask them. My hope in sharing this tip sheet and connecting with a therapist is that more people will feel empowered to reach out to providers and to feel confident in the choices that they are making. So thank you, Dr. Laura, for letting me share this presentation on my tip sheet on how to connect with a therapist. I hope everyone was able to take something away from this that will benefit them in their search for a provider. If you want to learn more about me and my practice, you can check out my website at gemtherapyllc.com. And if you're interested in more content on all things therapy, I do create videos on TikTok, and you can find me at Therapy by Gabby. Thank you.